their views on this market. I'm going to start with Jose Luis Andrade from Sweats North America. Jose has been with Sweats since 2004 and currently holds the position of President of the Americas. Jose is currently responsible for managing all commercial activities in the United States, Canada, and Latin America. Previously, he has held numerous executive management roles at several multinational companies, including Exactus Corporation, eShare Communications, and Bentley Systems, to name a few, where he successfully developed and grew the existing market. He holds a BS from Ibero-American University in Industrial Engineering and completed a Harvard Business School Executive Management course. He's a member of the Board of Directors for the Friends of the National Library of Medicine and regularly contributes presentations and speeches to various publications and related industry forums. So, without ado, Jose.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Well, it's my turn to start. I think our experience at Sweats as a company is very interesting in terms of representation of what I'm going to show you today, and all these facts that they presented to you. I think it's facts that we know in one way or another, and it's facts that are actually for us to use them in our benefit and our planning purposes and strategy discussions. But I want to make also this very open also for discussion at the end of the presentations, but I'm very curious about what you think about the different models that each one of us is going to talk about. So, starting with ourselves, we have this product we call AlJC, and it's basically representing ALPSP. And we have since 2003. And what we have accomplished with them, and it's a product I know very, very well. I've been representing this product, I've been selling it directly. And right now, it has over 1,000 journals from almost 50 publishers. And you could think that, you know, making a negotiation of 50 publishers, it's a really tough thing to do with consortia. So right now, it's just a single contract for the libraries. You don't have to do a unique contract with those 47 publishers. And although it's strong in social sciences and humanities, it also has other disciplines, and I'll show you later which other disciplines it has. And also something that most users complain is the access to the content. So the users only have one point of access. They don't have to go directly to 47 different portals or different places to search the content. And it's not an aggregated database, so it's just full text with no embargo, so it's directly subscriptions to these journals. The content in itself is 90% peer-reviewed journals, so it's very high-quality content. Most of them are ranked on top of their group in their ISI impact factor. And all this content has very nice options, licensing options for multi-sites or consortia. So it's always very important to have this unique way of really managing the pricing and be flexible to the needs of different consortia. I mean, you'll see around the world the consortia has very specific needs depending on the region, on the type of consortia, or depending on the country. So the requirements are very specific, and that's one of the things that we have asked throughout the time and we have evolved in our relationship with them, is that they have to have that flexibility to have certain models depending on the country. And the access, we do it through our platform, through SweatsWise, and just a simple access. They brand it according to the consortium or brand it according to the institution. So for the user, it's transparent. So they just access the full text. They could do keyword search. They can search by author, and it simplifies the search of what they're doing for the research work. And at the end, it's very important also to have that single administration agent that will license, will grant you access, and will manage the payments on your behalf. What problems do we think that it's solving to the library and consortium? Again, we know that it's high quality content and reduces all the purchasing hurdles and all the management cost of doing a negotiation. And for those of you who have ever done negotiations with consortia, you know how long it takes to do that and how complicated it takes. So, I mean, it is a cumbersome process, and our experience with AlJC has been very good. It's not perfect, definitely, it's not perfect. There's always some caveats, but again, it's a model that has worked over the years, and we have redesigned our approach, our commercial approach, to have better exposure of these publishers into the market. So it also provides the big deal, what we call the big deal, purchasing discounts. For larger the volume, the lower the per institution price. And then also it gives access to the archives. As long as you're subscribed, you get access to all the content from each of these publishers. And again, it just also standardizes the service throughout all these publishers. So adding flexibility to the budgets, I think it is a nice part that that if you cannot afford to buy the full collection that includes all these subject areas, you can pick and choose per collection, and you can mix 2 or 3 collections, and you also get discounts depending on how many collections you add. So it gives you flexibility, but as you can see, it might be strong on social sciences, but the content, if you start looking at the content in medicine or life sciences, it's also very strong over there. And in certain regions, we've been very successful selling as well technology or archaeology and history. So it's very flexible having all these different options, which I remember when this started in 2003, we only had 3 or 4 subject areas. So we bundled all the content within that, and it was only about maybe 350 titles, and now has over 1,000. So it has really evolved, and more publishers have been added to this model, which they've really enjoyed the benefits. Now, not everything is magic. I mean, you establish this framework and you need to accept the rules of how you are going to work in this deal. And you cannot play these rules in one way one day, and the other day you don't want to play by those rules. So once you accept playing in this game with certain frameworks, different guidelines, you have to accept the challenges that it's going to have to overcome. But the problem it solves for smaller publishers is really in the age of the big deal, where you have consortia focusing on the large publishers, where they're eating most of their budget, so they're focusing most of their time focusing on the large publishers. You don't want to lose presence, and you want to lose part of that budget, because then being part of a collection like this, you cannot just partially cancel the collection. It's just a collection of 47 publishers, and then that gives you a strong position with every consortia by having a deal with AlJC. So you get enough time and attention from the consortia when you get together in an offering this type. But not just that, it also adds skill sets that you might not have. It also adds much more market penetration, and you get instant relationships. One thing that we do is, once we close a deal, we provide complete access to every customer information. So it's not like a lot of aggregated databases where everything is behind the scenes. Here, the contract is very specific that each publisher knows who the customer is. So there's nothing hidden, and you immediately get those relationships with those customers. So if you look, trying to do deals with 50 different publishers and 67 libraries, just try to deal that and try to get the content and normalize what they have in terms of current subscriptions versus what else they're going to get. I want to share one of our, in the territory I manage, our Canadian experience is very important, but I'm going to compare it with another experience that it's totally different. You have a CRKN consortium of 67 libraries. It's the largest consortium in Canada. This consortium, the negotiations began in 2007 for a 3-year deal, and it has been renewed until 2013. So that means next year it goes for renewal. The process was very long, was cumbersome, and trying to find what each of the 67 libraries had subscribed from those 47 publishers was a big challenge. We were like sending lists back and forth, and we were trying to get, the publishers didn't know what they had, and libraries were not submitting the information. So we had to do most of the work. We had to call library by library, give them list, and we were not getting the list backs, and we provided all the information, all the structure. It was a long process, but at the end, it paid really well, because right now, it is, I mean, the users are very happy about having that mix between the large publishers and mid-sized to smaller publishers into the large Canadian-funded deal. So they have this initiative where in Canada, they gotta support they have this DCI project, which is a digital content infrastructure for the human social sciences. And the project was launched in 2005, and it supports the development of new knowledge infrastructure for social science and humanities research. So they are funded by the federal government, and it's centrally funded. So that's something that it just, like, it was a perfect storm, having everything together, and that's how we came on board with this deal. The negotiations were based on the current holdings. Again, most of the negotiations are based on maintaining the spend and growing the content. So the problem was just normalizing the spend. So it was a calculation that everybody had to agree into a certain volume, and then they added the access content fee, which sold the electronic titles. Now the model has changed a lot. Now you have to convert everything from print to electronic, and you have access to deep discount prices if you still want some of the print. But the model has evolved also over time as everything has moved to electronic. Now this is in contrast with this Canadian experience, where we had a lot of libraries with a lot of content. We had also the models like in Latin America, where most of the libraries don't have any of the content. So they only pay for the e-access fee, and the libraries get access to a lot of content which they never had access before. So the sales process is shorter, because you don't have to work through their existing spend, but also it's challenging because you need to promote the usage between the library and the user community that library serves. So it's the effort, also the strategy is a little bit different. Here in Canada, the users knew the content, but in Latin America, the users didn't know the content. The negotiations are easier, but now what's happening in Latin America, there's a lot of national consortia that's going on in different countries. So this federal funded consortia that is happening in certain countries like Mexico, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, is that also the government is focusing in top 10, top 15, top 25, top 40 publishers. But that's it. They don't do anything more. So again, this is a very good option to get in there with a very important high impact content that in these countries it's going to work. And it happens the same way throughout the world. You know, there's content, there's countries like Europe, they will know much more about this content, but if you go to Asia, maybe a little bit less. So again, it's a very good way to go in with a different perspective. And you know, in contrast, these are like the two big examples, but for us, it's been very rewarding to deal with an experience like this.